Hello everyone, I'm going to be starting in 1 minute all about mastering selections in Photoshop, which is like 90% of my job, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be back in about 1 minute, so we will see you in 1 minute. Hello and good morning, everyone. How is everybody doing today? Let me know if you could hear me loud and clear. Hello, Fabian. I see you over there, Theopolis. Dorothy, Dawn, Christian, Liz from a very chilly Scotland. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's still sounds awesome, might I add. So, yeah, I would love to be there. Hello, Justin, Eric. Yeah, good to have you guys here. Frank, give me a thumbs up. Clarissa or someone, making sure audio's good and all that fun stuff. It's all about mastering selections today. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you, Annika. You are too kind. The flavor of the day is blueberry and I have a coconut. I have two coffees: coconut coffee and a blueberry coffee. It's ridiculous, isn't it? This is so ridiculous, right? What isn't ridiculous is selections, which I love so much, right? Sort of like how can you like pull elements out of images, especially if you do a lot of compositing, which is what I love to do. So we need a neural network selection. Hey man, we're getting there with like select subject and all that. We're all about it. So cheers. All right, one coffee down. If you guys are curious about this font, because I think this font is really amazing, by the way, it's called Brams. So I got this from Pixel Surplus, in case you're wondering. So a lot of my fonts, yes, are Adobe fonts. This happens to be from Pixel Surplus. They have some fun display fonts. But yes, we're going to talk about sort of selections and what we can do there. You know, we can get pretty simple to pretty complex, just so you know. I think this is a complex image. You know, it's gonna get pretty hairy, shall I say, you know, when we dive into selections, but you know, especially when it comes to compositing. So if I did start with this animal image, because I do want to make a collage, by the way. I want to like sort of bring a lot of animals together. I have two different projects I'm working. I'm going to bring a bunch of animals together into like one scene right here. Okay, so let's just have some animals living together. I think that sounds like a good idea. Yes, fox is your spirit animal, and love that font. I do as well. So cool. I love it so much. So let's go get some animals that are going to go right in here. Okay, so we'll just like kind of come over here. Let's just take this. Let's actually drop that in here. I'm curious to know how you guys would select, you know, all these animals. So there's a couple different ways. There is no wrong way, by the way. There's kind of like the best way is probably the way you know, right? When it comes to our selection tools, right over here, yeah, we have all of these. What's the most exact selection tool is the lasso tool. Right, I use this all the time in Photoshop on my iPad because it's just so easy to select things, right? It's not going to work here, right? Like, yeah, I'm going to try to select this bird. Yeah, not in a million years. No way, right? I don't even know what type of bird this is, but it looks like it is I don't know where it's from. Where are you from, bird? So this will be pretty easy, by the way, right? But I would actually jump into sort of the object selection tool, which again is probably the newest. And we'll get into the others and we'll get into selecting big images and all that stuff. But let's dive right into the object selection tool. First thing you'll notice is it does have a marquee. So you might, actually usually it defaults to marquee. So up at the top it says, or excuse me, rectangle. I don't know what you call it, rectangle or marquee. But from there, you'll try to draw like a rectangle around it, right? And you might get other animals obviously like in the way. But it actually did a really good job. I'm amazed. Wow. It did a pretty good job. Because I would typically use the lasso tool. I would come in and maybe just kind of make a loose selection. But even with the rectangle tool, it did a good job. Now, did it get it all? No. In fact, let's just duplicate this layer. Because I made this selection, right? And now we'll go ahead and convert that to a mask right down here. We'll add a layer mask right down here at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to be hitting that button a lot. Shabam. And there we are, right? Didn't quite get it all, right? We could always disable the layer mask and then just kind of jump back in here and maybe try to select this part right here. Oh, I got it. There it is. I've actually selected that part and now I could just fill that in with white. I'll usually do a shift delete and then fill it with the foreground color, which happens to be white. Boom. Right. Again, we're just starting out. We're just getting started with this weird looking bird. I don't know. I feel like it gets picked on by other birds because he's like, well, I kind of have ostrich legs. I kind of look like an ostrich, but I'm not an ostrich and all this stuff, right? Another thing you can do to see your mask is if you option click, you could actually see what your mask looks like. So I did an option click and I can see that's actually not fully white right there. So yeah, I could start painting with white right in here if I wanted to. So option click on your layer mask will show it. Option click back and we're back. But good morning, everybody. Oh, the magic wand tool, the tragic wand. You know, the magic wand was like the first sort of like amazing selection tool in Photoshop. It's one of the oldest, but was like the first like big hit. It was magical, and I'm talking like 1995, by the way. So, anyways, I think every tool has its place, you know. And anyways, so that's what we have. We have this bird selected. Let's kind of dive into this some more. Let's go into select and mask, and we'll kind of clean this up a little bit more. He's kind of looks like he's, I don't know. He looks like he has a bow tie on. You're exactly right. That is funny. But we'll just go in with these selection tools, right? Or these painting tools. We have sort of a quick selection tool that we could use, but we're going to use a refine edge brush tool. Of course we are. Right? And we'll come in here and just kind of clean that up right along the edges. Usually if you start on the outside and then click in, right, we can kind of drag that and get these extra little hairs like so. A lot of you guys already might know this. I know this happens a lot too, even when it comes to, ooh, let's get right there, right between these little toes. There we go, we did it. Let's get between his toes. There we go. Hopefully he's not ticklish. Okay, good. We're good. Ooh, right in here. Oh yeah. Look at this part right in here. Like, how would you select this like white part? Right? You could still try the refine edge, but it's really mainly used for like hair and fur and things like that. Okay. But so you might take a look at the quick selection tool and just to see how that would work. And again, we're going from easiest to then like more exact, right? We'll try to kind of do a quick selection, jumping in there. Ooh, I did the opposite of that. Oops, I do that all the time. Hold down the option key, right? Because that's what's happening. Like I hold down the option key and it gives me that sort of minus, right? So I'm going to subtract from it and start to kind of paint in there and see what happens. Oh, it did a horrible job. Again, we're trying out different things. We talked about the lasso tool. Yeah, I'd probably jump in with a lasso tool, right? That's what I would use. Heck yeah, I could use this with the mouse. I don't want to add, I want to subtract. So let's undo that. Option key. Option key will typically do the opposite when it comes to brushes and selection tools. And I'm just really just doing this with my mouse. But I have a Wacom and I'd probably use my pen typically. Boom. Yeah, a little bit of aliasing there, but honestly, once we get this small enough, it'll work out fine. You notice how it has a halo there? Good morning. Buen dia. Edgar, where are you from? You from, yeah, tell me where you're from, Edgar. Would love to know. Oh, the pen tool as well. Like, again, I wish the pen tool was in Select and Mask. But yeah, it's not. I wish it was in here. But usually when I'll typically get this like halo of sort of white. And there's a couple different ways to get rid of this. The easiest way is just to shift the edge in. That's all I'm doing, just shifting that edge in. And bye-bye white. Isn't that nice? Shifting it in, you're good. And then we can just go ahead, new layer with layer mask, click OK, and like there's our bird. That's not bad. We'll call it bird since we don't know what it is. Bird. Convert to smart object. And then, you know, sort of put our little character right down here. And that's the start of our, you know, wonderful world of animals that are all living together in peace and all that stuff. Wait, who's living? Jose, Azore Islands, Portugal. Pen tool, convert to selection. Ah, I love it. That actually works out great too. Oh man, I love it. Okay, Jennifer says I'd like to alt click for subtracting. Yeah. For small spaces, I'd like to decrease the pixel size, or it decreases past where I want it. Okay. Can we use Photoshop for art? Of course, why not? All right, let's take this. So what were we doing earlier? Going back to our object selection tool. We're able to jump in, and I'll grab another animal. Let's grab this. Ooh, I like this. Some of these, again, I'm starting out easy, and it's going to get much more complex. But right in here, we'll go back to the rectangle tool for the select subject and jump in, and there it is. And we can do duplicate this layer and then layer mask. Boom. We again probably still have like some issues, and it's because I used that rectangle selection tool and thought it was good. So anyways, same process, right? But I was going to go beyond this, right? Because I have to do this like so many times for all these animals, right? I have to do this so many. You got to do this for each one. Yeah, sometimes it does. Life is does take some work sometimes. You know, even here, grabbed that tail again. Let's subtract that again. Option key will do that. Let's add to it. By holding down the Shift key, we'll add to this current selection. Boom, right? Super easy layer mask. That's what we're kind of used to. That one looks pretty good. But back to our point. Are you ready? Boa tarde. From Angola. Oh, Philippe, good to have you here. Awesome. Love seeing this. Luma from Poland. Oh, I would love to make a fun hybrid animal because based on all of these, it's all like a profile view, we could really mix a lot of animals if we wanted to. Because yeah, a lot of them are side view. Anyways, we extracted 2 animals so far. There's our burb. Our 2 burbs. Boop, boop. This one might be smaller. Let's make him a little smaller, like that. And let's convert this. The one shortcut key, if you guys are interested, I make smart objects all the time. So I use this convert to smart object. I just made my own shortcut. I encourage you to do that because it makes it so easy. T White, what's up? T. White's in the house. Oh, this is fun. Terry, I'm so glad you're here. What's up, buddy? Terry's up next doing some magic that I have not looked ahead on the schedule, but I'm sure it's going to be something fun. All the ways to share your photos in Lightroom. That's awesome. Which I'm going on vacation next week, so I think that'll be beneficial to me. So, Flamingo. Okay, so that's what we've done. We've done 2 out of all of these, right? But I just want to cut out everything. So check this out. And again, this is pretty darn new. I will right click and, because what have I been doing this whole time? I've been trying to mask objects. And what do we have here? We have mask all objects. If you right click on a layer, mask all objects. Notice how it's all in white. Let's try that and watch my layers panel like explode. You ready? It's gonna explode. So many layer masks are going to be made, and it's going to put those layer masks on layer groups. So cheers to that. Oh, Sean, you saw those 2 birds while in the Alps? Did you really? Just so you know, I really am kind of gullible. I pretty much take everybody at their word. So if you said that, I'm like, oh, that's great. All right, what did I just say? Boom. Layers panel explodes, right? It doesn't look like there's anything. What did we learn earlier? Well, if you option click on a layer, oh, it shows me that is these 2 little parrots, looks like, right? So those 2 little birds are right there. So it made this layer mask. It made this layer mask and this one and this one. You get the idea. All of them. I personally think it did all this work. Why didn't it just duplicate the layer and put it in there? Can we agree on that, Terry? I wish it just did that. Man, just do that, right? So nonetheless, it does mean that for, say, this giraffe, which it didn't even get 100%. Let's take a look. Is that a wildebeest? All right, so let's just go with this ostrich. Since it's right in the middle and nice and big. We'll take this layer. We will, actually, can I option drag? Oh yeah. Guess what? I think I just either learned something for the first time or relearned something I once forgotten. Because a lot of people will do Command J to jump a layer, right? That's what it does. Command J will duplicate a layer. Super nice, Command J. But what do I need to do? I need to put this layer in each one of these folders. So if you hold down the Option key and drag it into that folder, it duplicates it. So just hold down the Option key or Alt key and drop it in there. So that's what it takes to sort of get this to where I want it. And you'll start to see these animals appear. So let's do that. Option, drag, boom, animals appearing out. Ooh. Get it in there. Get it in that folder. There we go. Out of nowhere. Coming into view, which is pretty cool, right? If you guys know of a faster way, tell me. I would love to hear it. Like, because I kind of want it to be even faster, right? Is there a faster way, I guess, is my big question. Is there a faster way? And another thing I would do, by the way, when it comes to managing all this stuff, maybe you're not crazy. Like, I'm not crazy that everything is in its own little folder. You could decide to not do that. Like, you can option. Actually, can you just click and drag? Yeah, that's all I need to do. Click and drag. You don't need to option. Option would copy it. But you could say, hey, I don't want that in a layer folder. Let's just drag that around. Let's delete that. Let's drag this up. Right, it's kind of like a lot of work, but, you know, that's just organization for you. Cool. Is there an action for all that? You know, when it comes to like specific selections, I don't know if there is. I want to say no. The max power way is faster, but wrong. All right. Do we have any exercise files to play along with? No. Well, I'll show you where to get some. Super fun, super easy. Let's go to free. Go to Adobe Stock. Go to free, and then type in animals. Right. So we give away like so many images. I'm like, I don't even know. Oh, only 50,000 results right in here. So you could see some of these, if you want actual photos, by the way, this looks like a little like painting or illustration. Let's go to photos, and that's where you can get a ton of free images if you wanted to play around, right? Like here's a great, this one looks better than the image I actually purchased, by the way. This just looks like much cleaner and just color corrected better, right? All that fun stuff. So that's where you can get them. Right, and we can get into more complex things. I'll get into this lion. He's not any old animal. He's like, I'm a lion. And how to add shadow to them to make them look more real. Yeah, we can get into all that as well. Let me just take a bunch of these because, again, this got out of control. Group. Let's see which animals I should actually grab. Oh, yeah, for navigation purposes, I want to know what layer this is. Command click, and it will jump right down to that layer. Okay, this is the hippo. Cool. Boom. Drag that down. Boom. I can use this hippo, pull it outside of that folder because I want that to be one of the many animals that I end up using. Right? So you're getting some navigation tips as well. Right? If you wanted to zoom to something, let's see if this works. Selection, let's do, well, I guess, but I really want this gazelle hanging out. Yeah, let's get this gazelle. What else? We gotta have a zebra. So again, command click on that element in your document, and it'll jump to that layer and just allows me to locate that layer and pull it out. Cool, cool. We gotta do the ostrich. Get that ostrich out of there. But this has been pretty easy so far, right? Can we all agree? Boop. All these animals were on white. We're going to get into something more complex because this is all about mastering selections, right? And I could clean these up. I do need to clean them up. Hey, you know what? Smart object. What is this? Zebra. I do like to name my layers before I turn them into a smart object. So now that smart object will be called that layer name, which is nice. Oh, another thing you could do, like, you notice how I turn things on and off to locate them? You could hold down the Option key, click on that eyeball, and it will just reveal that layer. So that's another way to find things as things get more complex. So again, right in here, ostrich. Let's convert to smart object. Okay, we're getting places. All right, for the sake of time, you guys don't need to watch me name everything. Let's get rid of that. Turn these on. Move them around. Just hanging out over there, buddy? These guys don't quite work. Let's just delete them. Let's make some decisions. These guys, not crazy about them. Done. Okay. Let's get back into something more complex, because what did I download? You asked for free assets. You got free assets. There's this lion. There's also this really cool fox. Absolutely love it. The lion's a little cleaner. It's got some crazy stuff there, but let's try out a couple of these images. Because how would you select this line? I typically try the fastest thing. Thank you, Chevron. Chevron, what's up, buddy? Thank you for. It's good to see you, man. Just saying hi. Great. What if something's on not a solid background? I'll usually try this. The fastest thing if you just need to extract something from the background, just do a remove background quick action and just see what happens there. This might get you like a certain percentage there, to be honest. Right? So that's what I'll typically do. It's like, boom, it makes the selection of the subject and then adds the layer mask. And then from there, we could start to clean that up, right? Super fast. We can do that all day long. We can do that back with our initial Fox as well. Let's just see what happens if we do remove background. Boom. And that's all I did to make the title for this. Here's mastering selections. And drag this up. Right? And now you have that super easy remove background. Does wonders. Okay. Now, what do a couple of these images have in common? Well, they have a depth of field to them. So I want to show this because I actually saw this on Reddit the other day. I was like, you know, how, and I wish I actually had something that had even greater depth of field, but there's some depth of field going on here. I need almost a better example. But you can select based on depth of field. So you can go into focus area. And we're going to select that. I'm not going to do anything. So this is like no hands mode. See my hands right here? It'll go through, determine the focus range, and then grab what's in focus, which is, of course, going to be the ground. It's going to be the lion because I'd want to do that text effect that you saw a second ago. Add feet button. Yeah, oh, it's probably coming, Rick. An add feet button. I believe it. If you want more or less, it's just a matter of increasing or decreasing the focus range. Right? So I'll drag that a little bit more to the right. Let's go a little bit more drastic, right? So it's actually pulling out sort of more things in the background, and tighter would be to the left. I want to, since Chevron's here, we got Terry White here, like I want to get into some more advanced things. But again, since I saw that question on Reddit, I'm like, yeah, you could select based on focus range. So consider doing that. You can always add or subtract. So if I wanted to sort of like subtract from an area, I have this little brush right in here that I could jump in and select between its legs, right? And it automatically selects that area sort of between the legs, right? Same thing for right here. This is a spot, well, I kind of missed. Let's go in there, click. Works kind of like the quick selection. We'll grab those pixels. Same thing for right there, just draw and it grabs that like so. Still a little rough, but hey, you know, I love these instant little buttons, right? And let's do a new layer with layer mask, right? And oh yeah, by the way, I could jump directly into select and mask from here because that's what I'd want to do. It's like, hey, you want that refine edge? Yeah, we do. Let's grab all those little hairs on his head and in his mane. Oh yeah, you get the idea, right? Pretty straightforward and pretty tough, by the way, because this is beige on beige, right? Well, that's kind of hard, but you know what? It worked. Let's tile all these. Boom, boom, boom. Shabam. Consolidate. You know, same hacky trick that I always use. But I love it. Chevron, buddy, do you like this? Do you like this font, man? I'm just like, I'm loving this font. I just think it's so cool. It's called Brahms. So yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I have still 30 minutes, so this is awesome. This is plenty of time. Because I want to get into, again, some more advanced selection. We should try object select in select and mask here. I guess you could. Yeah, Sean, that's a good call. Oh, shadow. Sorry. Chris Williamson's getting me back on track. You know, again, back to this original project. Kind of maybe slightly off topic, but if you did want to, you know, there's a lot we'd want to do here. We'd want to create a brush or use a brush basically that has these. This is what I would do. Boom, boom. Sorry, I don't have a brush on hand. I really need a hairbrush. Ooh, there, perfect. Hairbrush. Or something like that, right? Here's another one. I don't even know what type of brush this is, but these all look like hairbrushes. But this is what I'd kind of use to subtract, like, do that, right? I'd do something like that to kind of hide the feet, just using a hairbrush, going straight up, making sure the flow and opacities at full strength, right? And we can kind of hide the feet like that. Okay. Shadows. When it comes to shadows, a lot of people will paint, right? It's okay to paint with just black. This is usually what people will do, especially when you first start out. You'll start painting with black. Obviously, that's like pressure is way higher than it needs to. These would not have a lot of shadow. There's too much light in the scene for it to have a lot of shadow. But if you did want to put some in, I would actually use probably levels or use curves and adjust that accordingly. So this is a good way to start out. This is how I do brush. Oops. Excuse me, shadow with a brush. Like maybe you want to start with a little bit of this, and this might work just fine, but usually what I tell people is to use levels, right? And even though you painted on something and it's not looking right, you could turn this into a selection. Ooh, not enough pixels to select it. That happens. There it is. Let's make it a little darker. So command click on that layer. You're like, oh, this looks so fake. Turn that into a selection, and then delete. Add that as a layer mask on that levels layer. So I know this sounds really complex, and I'm sorry. But so basically this gives me the ability to adjust this slider, right? My levels, and make the shadow that way, right? I think this gets to be more realistic, way more realistic than this, right? We can all hopefully agree. Shadow. Boom. All right, we got it. That's what we would potentially do. Did it really fast. You get the idea. We could always use curves for the same thing. All right. All right, let's actually take a look maybe at this scene. Oh, this would be so tough. This would be interesting. Let's take a look at grander scenes like this background. And let's see, I have one like right here. So maybe I need to cut out the sky. Right? That's a pretty common task. Let's do that. Let's do this, because again, I like little like one click, boom, it's done. We have the sky replacement tool. So I can use sky replacement. Maybe I don't even want to replace the sky, because all I would use this for is the selection capabilities, right? It's already giving me a dramatic sky. Look at that, dramatic. Doesn't quite match, but let's go with this one. Dramatic. And actually, you know what? Let's cancel out of that. We're going to make this larger. I need to see more sky. So let's do height 7,000. There we go. We want this to be more dramatic. Edit, sky replacement. That same sky is selected. Let's see what happens. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm learning as well, by the way. It only fills what pixels are there. So let's just grab these pixels. Do you guys ever do this? If you ever need to extend, you just like, there we go. Okay, now we have all those pixels that can be replaced. Okay, so sky replacement. Do your drama. Why is it only going so far up? Anyone know? Okay, so hey, that works. Look at that. Look at how awesome. Can we just admire how awesome that is? Chevron and Annika and everything. But look at that. That is so awesome. Output to some new layers. Boom. That is just so cool. But like I said, what does sky replacement do? It gives me all these cool selections that I can work with. So it does. It isolates the sky right there. Option click. There's sort of my isolation of it. So use sky replacement just to enable you to sort of cut out the mountains in this case. Right, here's another thing you do. So that's number one, sort of like removing. That just looks so cool. Can we just pause on this? Man, I want to put a glowing orb in this or something. I want to put something dramatic in this scene now. It's so cool. Should we put a whale in the sky? Oh, yeah, Ryan. Thank you. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Good to see you. Yeah, you can adjust the size after the fact, too. Oh, yeah, good call. Yeah, so look. Deselect T. Okay, to Ryan's point, these two are linked, but I can move the sky around. Okay. Well, I can in the sky replacement. Anyways, so it looks like there's more of the sky in there. So, anyways, let's go back to this photo. Anytime you want to select something based on the color, right? We could try that. Let me show you this. A couple things. Do something based on select on the color. Like here, this is all blue. We can go to, and this shows me how old school you are, by the way. Color range. Like some people, I'll use color range. Sure, there's nothing wrong with color range. But I think this has been in Photoshop forever, right? We'll click in and we can see what it's selecting, right? It's kind of selecting more. Bom, bom, bom. If I hold down the control key, I'll see that image. So I can actually kind of jump in here and use either this thumbnail, right? If you want to see the actual image, or use the actual image over here as well. So here I'm adding, boom, right? And it's actually starting to select some of the mountains. So this could work out okay, right? And you could even sort of jump into the fuzziness slider. So this could work out pretty well. Like if I jump to a plants file that I have, I would use this for like plants, selecting the greens, stuff like that, right? All right, so I'm doing this all based on sampled colors, but ultimately, what is this? Well, it's a lot of blues. So we could actually select blue. It'll jump in and select those blue colors or the cyans. I almost said cayenne. Is it a pepper? No. It's a color. Calm down. All right. There we are. We'll go ahead and click OK. It'll go through and it selects it. We turn that into a mask. We'll see what we get, right? Kind of selects the sky. We can invert it. Right. All right, select based on colors. Great, good job. That's not as fun as what I'm going to show you next, which I think is cool. Yeah, it's so helpful. Thank you, Penny. I agree. And again, this is all about mastering selections. I just went through color range, saw what it can do. It's been around for 20 years, I feel. Focus area, been around for, what, 7 years? Select subject, and we've done select sky. So we've done all of these so far. I did want to do another old school since I got a lot of old school people here. What's up, Clevera? Fabian, hello. Thanks for hanging out with me. This also shows me if you're old school, is using channels as selections. So go to your channels panel. You're like, well, I do need to select all the blues, right? We'll go in here and we'll do a command click on that layer and it selects all the blues. You can hold down the command shift to select all the blues and the greens. So you could do a lot in here. Let's deselect that because I just need the blues. Command click, boom, just select all the blues. Let's go to my layer, right? Let's turn this into a layer mask, bam. And let's take a look, option click. This is what it selected. What is white is opaque. What is black is transparent. So we just use channels. We use these color channels to do our selection. So now you know. You can't do this in Figma. That's right, Nicola. Love Figma. You know, I love whatever you guys are using. I don't care if it gets the job done. Hey, no wrong. If the clients are happy, hey, it's all good. I'm going to invert this because look, we can work in this channel mode. By the way, I'm clicking option click. I'm within this. Let me just rename this because I think it says the fact that it says channels is confusing. Let's just call it landscape. But I'm going to work on this layer mask, right? So option click, and now I have just this mask is showing. So I can invert it. Command I, I've just inverted it, right? And now I can start doing some fun things in here. You ready for this mess here? I can go to image, adjustment, and go to like levels. Right, try levels and curves. Heck, you know, let's try curves. Let's go into curves. This is why I like this little modal dialog. Say, okay, well, at this point I want the sky darker. We'll drag that down. Or I can even drag this black point to the right to select more of the sky. And we want the whites to be more intense. This is moving so slow for me right now. Right, so we're sort of selecting less of the mountains. Right? So that's all I'm doing. Just giving a lot more contrast. Use curves, use levels. Personally, I'm a levels guy. I don't know why. I just am. Probably because, thank you, General Kenobi. We're on the same page. Love it. Probably because I do more compositing than I do photo editing. But we've just adjusted that contrast. Command L, boom, levels. We're back in here. And I don't know, maybe because it's simpler. And I'm just a simple guy. Adjust. You guys get the idea. Everything is moving a little slow now. And then we'll click back. Ready? Boom. So again, we've selected all that color. We used some adjustments on that layer mask to select more or less of what we wanted. Anything that'll get me to a win will do. Kyrie Irving. I did not know he said that, but I like it. I'm all about it. Anything it takes. Like, let's show you all my beat up bruises and stuff from squash. So yeah, I know about, like, do I really need to dive for the ball all the time? Is that necessary? I don't know. I don't know, man. Anyway, just throwing it back a color there. See what works. Okay. Oh, cool. Milhan, thank you. You were stuck on a picture, editing one picture, and this kind of helped you out. That's so good to hear. Right? And oftentimes it's going to be a combination of these tools, right? So we might be able to see in here, boom, we did not grab all of this, right? So I would probably just start painting, to be honest with you. I just grab that brush tool and like start painting. Or actually, no, this is what I would do. Select, fill with white. You know, and yeah, there are other ways, but that's all I needed. Just grabbing a little bit more. I need it. Let's try even the, by the way, I love the quick selection tool. I don't know if I have other fans of the quick selection tool out there, but I just love it. Like along this edge, quick selection, yeah. You know, and it's pretty darn accurate. Like I'm just so impressed the more I work with it. It's like, yeah, let's just run across that edge. It snaps into place. Yeah, because I'm not grabbing that with a lasso tool. Are you crazy, man? I ain't got time. I ain't got time for that. Look at it. It grabbed it all. Oh, come on now. I'm into it, but yeah, just nerding out over selections. Who are we? Fill with white. Right, so now we're getting more into that very hard edge. And you get the idea. All right. So we got that done. We got our awesome mountains. I really like what we did with the sky as well. That looks so good. I feel like putting like a big spinning orb or triangle in there or something. Just to get something going on, huh? Why not? If you don't know, so a lot of these tools, vector tools, there we go. We can use, throw a glow in there, all that stuff. All right, you guys get the idea. All right, I still have time, outer glow. Change that to white. I'm just kind of screwing around right now. And I think that's okay. I'll sometimes use a drop shadow as an outer glow. Just make the distance 0. And, you know, there you have it. So, anyways, just kind of screwing around. Tell me about it, Don. Don Lancaster. What's up, buddy? Great. This all kind of leads up to compositing. Matching the tone, lighting, all that stuff is so good. Like, and you kind of have that problem here. Just a real quick aside, if I did want to do that, just to do that, say with this ostrich. First off, I didn't even select this ostrich that well. Like, there's more going on. I need his head for one. So let's adjust that. Like, we have some serious lighting issues with this guy. It's okay, buddy. So look at we lost its head. Where's your head, buddy? Again, a case where it's like you're selecting this very, very almost white against a white background. What would I do here? I would still try object selection tool, right? And try to lasso this part. And maybe we'll get it even tighter. Like so. There we go. Just got to bring this back. And then I'm going to answer your question. Because that's why we do this live, is enabling you guys. I want to still stay on subject because I'm going to be true to the people who have shown up for this such an important topic. But it's nice that this is live so I can like answer specific questions as we get into this. Boom, boom. Yeah, this lighting is just too much. A case where, you know, I'm kind of picking the wrong photo. But that is okay. Let's view this on black. There we go. You can see this, again, this slight glow. Let's shift that edge in is what I'm doing. You could also feather it because, hey, it is feathers, but I don't need to do that in this case. Brush. Boom. And refine edge. Oh, that is rough. Just some of these white spots. In this case, since all of it, if you have an object that always kind of needs to be like a little bit fuzzy, you can feather the edges. See what happens there? It's like I've choked it. So that's what this feels like. I've choked it by shifting the edge negative 100% and feathering it out a couple pixels. And that will give it kind of a soft edge all the way around, just so you know, but tends to work in this case. We'll click OK and call that done. All right. Hello from Guatemala. Hey, what's up? Johnny Hernandez, what's up? I've been across the border to some ruins in Guatemala from Belize. You would not. So to answer your question, that I would totally use the pen tool if it's a solid object. Since it's all these are like organic with these fuzzy edges, no. But if I was like selecting a car or something, I would totally use the pen tool. So good call there. All right, so we have that done. Close that. Back in here. We'll isolate just this bird, which again, the lighting's all off. We'll see what happens, but just to show this, we're going to deal with this landscape. And with this ostrich selected, we'll go to filter, we'll go into neural filters. And these are the easy buttons that I like to try if you just need to match the color of a background. It's harmonization. Turn that on. You won't see anything less yet, but you will need to select the landscape layer. So match this bird with the landscape and it will tint it that color. See how it tinted it that yellow color? So let's look at the before and then the after, right? Does make it look a little yellow, right? Because of the sun, but you can always adjust the strength, right? So we can take that down or crank it up, obviously. I think it makes it look a little bit yellow, so I might want to go from like magenta and kind of dip it more into the green. Seems to make it look a little bit better. And how nice is that from where we were before, right? Boom to boom. Basically like one click. We can output this as a smart filter or new layer. I'm going to do smart filter and that's done. Cool. So that's what we would do there. Feather the feathers. Yeah, how, good morning, Seth. How cool is that though? Harmonization, that's what I do. We'd make our selections. We'd have all these in here. Another way to do this, because I would probably try a couple things like I have other ideas for, making all these animals match. But here they are so far. And, yeah, I've gone over a lot of stuff. We could try a couple more things, like another file that I was working on as well. You might have this situation, super easy to work with, right? Since we're dealing with like 3D, multiple layers, but I always end up like I have this silly light that's in the way, right? So what do? You do marquee. I think it's very common to have these questions of, what do you do after the selection, right? So like right here, I've done a quick selection. Excuse me, not a quick selection, but using the lasso tool, content aware, fill that in like so, right? So that's just some simple cleanup right here. And again, here's this situation where I have you know, a case where I could extract her from the background if I wanted a new background, which would be really fun. Because look at all this. Let's go back to, I have this one, right? This will be interesting because there's probably some grays on her and grays in the background. I'd almost want to pose this as a question. Yeah, Seth. I hear you. All right, so this is the case. Like, what would you guys do here? What would you try? I would probably try remove background just to see what happens. Boom. How awesome was that? Let's grab a sky. Hey, why not? Guess what? I'm just gonna use sky replacement just to get a sky because we love that dramatic sky. Let's use it. Boom. There we go. Awesome. Okay. It did such a good job. I am so impressed with this. Look at that. Look at sky replacement on this new image. Provided the background was pretty solid gray, but look, it actually, sky replacement went through and it got in between these chains too. And all these little parts, like it did such a good job. I'm just so impressed with that. That's so awesome. Very cool. And by the way, using sky replacement just for that sky selection, there it did, selected all that stuff. Yeah, you get the idea. There she is. This one here, again, we can do remove background. So, not so impressed with that part, you know. This right here, like, how would you guys remove that? It's kind of quiz time since I'm down to my last minute. We would go to select. I would do a color range. Since I want to get that color range, boom, it'll select that color range. I can increase or decrease the fuzziness, but really ultimately it's color range and done. Okay, boom. And I'll work on this some more. This is just a design I'm working on, just so you know. Yeah, that's where that is. So thank you guys for hanging out with me, right? Again, this was pretty complex with all these little parts in there. My next step this does need to be brightened up and all that stuff. But, you know, more on that later as I work on my own art. But I do thank you guys for hanging out. Sort of mastering selections, everything from all this stuff right in here. Hopefully you learned something. I always do, and I love answering questions. So keep them coming, even offline. Appreciate you guys. All you guys do. And yeah, let's stay in touch and stick around for T. White. I know I'm going to. Amazing guy. Can never learn enough from him. It's awesome. So thank you, everybody. Stick around for some Lightroom action. Bye.